I mean, I really do want to go for Alan Webb's record. It's definitely a bold statement. The guys are talking to me, like I talked to Josiah and Tavon, sorry, about, just talking to them about running in general, because I, haven't talked to them. And I was just like, I saw them at the hotel. It was 12 in the morning and went to go talk to them. And they're just like, dude, you should just go for Alan Webb's record. I was just like, I might have to. Like, it's going to be a long reach. 353 is moving. Like, that's college, Olympic, like that's just moving, and it would be a really cool goal to put on the sheet.
Ladies and gentlemen, May 31st, there was a proposal by yours truly. I've coronated Jackson Heidish as the King of Iowa. May 31st, 2025, I proposed Quentin Nauman as the Prince of Iowa. And I would say confidently, June 5th at the St. Louis University High School track was his coronation. I think he is officially the Prince of Iowa. I think he's going to go down in the record books. Here to break it all down, the man himself. Quentin, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This Prince title, I think you can accept it now. How do we feel about it? I think you can confidently accept it now. 358 to your name. How do you feel about it?
I can confidently take it. I mean, it's very nice. And again, like I said, Jackson keeps the king. I'll take the Prince. It's really cool. And yeah, it was just insanity.
We'll break it all down. The cool thing is, obviously, this wasn't intentional on your end or my end. You finished the race, you won. Obviously, I want to get you back on the podcast to break it all down. But the cool thing is, like in scheduling, right? It's like when I'm free, when you're free. And it just happened to be that we're talking exactly a week after the race happened. And I think that's cool because a lot of times the day after, 2 days after, you're traveling, the emotion hasn't really set in. And I think roughly a week after a big event, you really have the time to like properly reflect on it. So as you think back to June 5th, a week ago, what are the biggest takeaways and reflections from that 3 minute and 58 second pursuit?
I just gotta say, I felt really good going into the race, and I was feeling pretty confident that I could, maybe change the script, flip the script on its head. And, I was really ready to race. I mean, I was looking forward to the race after state, and to know that there was already like 4 or 5 sub 4 milers, I was like, I want to put my name up there. And once I toed the line, and it was kind of just, there was no nerves. I was vibing to the music. I was singing. I remember me and Tavon were just like the song "I Got a Feeling," and then we just did the ooh with each other. It was very funny. So I was just happy. I was just happy to be there, and and God gave me a gift, and I was just happy to show it off and use it. And I was just happy. I mean, we towed the line and gun went off, and it was just the first time the gun went off was probably one of the scariest things I've ever experienced. I just got shoved off the track, so it was just very scary because I thought I was going to be DQ'd, and I got a second chance, and I gotta thank it for it because it was just very nice, and running was just awesome.
I gotta say, going into the event, I think every guy there had levels of confidence, but I think at an event like this, whether it's a national meet or something like the Festival of Miles, which is the pursuit of seeing how fast you can go at the mile distance for everyone there, some people fake the confidence. They maybe, bombed a few workouts, state didn't go as well. I think you were one of the guys that towed the line that was oozing confidence. That was like, everything is clicking at the right time. You had mid-season checkpoints at, Drake Relays. You did history there. And then obviously the state meet, which a lot of our last conversation centered around, was just about as good of a dress rehearsal as you could go for the Festival of Miles. Yeah. Going into it, how important was that for you to have that confidence? And you didn't seem, when I talked to you that day, to like need to prove anything. And I think that was big for you.
Yeah, that was definitely big for me. I mean, I wasn't really too scared. Like I've had usually before before my Drake 800, I was nervous. And I don't think before any time after that, I was never really nervous to race. I was just, happy to run with those guys. I mean, running with the best, I know makes me better. And I've realized that I'm necessarily it's hard to say I'm necessarily I want to shoot for this time. Yes, the time goals are there, but I want to win races. That was the main goal. And I've, won races in Drake, run races in state, and I wanted to do it on the national level against, the best guys. And the only way to do that is to race the best guys. So I was just really prepared to race them, and I was ready. I felt just very confident, and everything before that was just lined up perfectly. Like every workout felt smooth, it felt really good. Just the state meet and the Drake meet gave me a lot of confidence going into it with all my times that were coming down that I didn't, expect to come down. So I, yeah, I was just ready.
I think one of the things I said to you, we met before the race, I talked to you for a little bit. One of the things I said to you was the quote that I love going into big races, like, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. And I said that to you in relation to being one of the juniors in the field. It's like, if you bomb this, like, no one, I didn't even know you ran at Festival of Miles the year before I told you. I was like, people will probably forget it. Like, yes, you're more known, but like, people will probably forget it. And so going into the race with the perspective of like, I have so much more to gain here than I have to lose. And if it doesn't go out, well, I'm a junior. How big did that play into your mind where some guys, this was their last race of their high school career, and there's innate pressure that comes with that, or their last chance to break 4 minutes in the mile? There's innate pressure with that. Some people thrive under that pressure, but I think the better position to be was where you were at, where it's like, I really have nothing to lose.
Yeah. Knowing that I have one more year was very nice. And, I was aiming for sub 4 in the mile. It was, that was the time goal that my coach and I wrote down. But like, if it didn't come on, it didn't come on. And we just knew we had one more year to do it. And, it happened at the end of the day. And I was just really happy it did. And, I had more to gain than I had to lose going into that race, like to win the race and then to end up like, you know, going under 4 was really cool. And I just felt great. I mean, there was nothing to be scared of. I mean, all those guys have ran insane times, but I have definitely proved myself going into it. So it's just trying to apply myself as a junior in the field and, apply myself as with the best guys. So, I mean, I was ready.
I think something really cool and unique about the Festival of Miles meet is when you get to the track as an athlete, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours before the race. I forget when you exactly showed up. It's kind of quiet and there are people there and there's music playing, but there's no tension in the air. There's no anything. About every 30 minutes, I feel like the tension rises, the expectation rises, the music gets a little more hype, the intros start to happen a little bit more. And before your race, I was like, it was the most nervous I've ever been before a race watching. It was weird. I felt like I was going to run it. And I think that's something really cool with this event where it's like from the time you get there to 5 minutes before the gun is a radically different feeling. Can you walk me through that? And would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like as I got there was like barely like anybody at the track yet. There was a decent amount, but there wasn't much people. And I remember getting there. I'm like, where are the other high schoolers? Because I didn't stay there the night before. Like I stayed at my coach's parents that just lived 3 hours from there, and then I drove down the day of, and we got there early because I was like, I want to get there early so I actually feel good, experiencing the track a little more. Because usually for when I go to Drake, I notice that I feel like I run better if I get there like maybe 2 hours early, like or 3 hours earlier. And I was looking around, I was just wondering where everyone was, and they weren't there, and I just soaked it in because not every high schooler gets this opportunity, and to really, really enjoy it and take it in is the main thing I did. And as the day went on, the lights came on and it got darker and the music got louder, and the lights got on. There was like a lot more of those pyrotechnics; those were really cool, and the meet started getting more and more hype, and I didn't really see it as like, oh, it's just another track meet. That's what I've noticed. Like the U.S. I mean, I like how it's in St. Louis University High School. Like it's literally at a high school. So it's just nothing changes that you're still running technically a high school meet. So it's just really cool.
Introductions. I think they do it better than any other meet in the country, specifically by the time it's completely dark. What are you feeling inside you? How hype are you when you're doing those like final few strides? They bring you to the infield and you're waiting for your name to be called. You're waiting in line. I mean, also it's cool because I feel like Ben Rosario, the in-stadium announcer, like his mic is clear enough that you can hear him, but it's just raspy enough where it's like his volume of his voice is just like perfect enough where it like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it sounds perfect. It like sounds so hype.
Yeah, I know. I was just smiling all through it. I mean, a lot of guys were very, very serious, and they just noticed, me just smiling, and I was just having fun with it. I mean, again, one opportunity that most people don't get, so just soak it in. I mean, as a junior, I know I have hopefully one more year of this. So it's just like, just keep running and enjoy it. And once he announced my name, like I was even like more confident. Like I was like, oh, like this is really showing like where I got. And I just waited with the other guys, and some people have different ways of locking in. For me, it's just being happy and vibing around and having fun. Like that's my way of locking in. When I toe the line, maybe the 5 minutes before, I'll start locking in a little more. But anything before that, I just like to be happy about this sport because it's more than just oh, I'm running really seriously, like at a serious level. But you got to sit down and remember that this is still a sport. You got to love it.
Let's talk about what I thought I would never talk about or imagine. And it plays into the fact of what we've been saying. All the guys were tense and nervous, and I think it played into the first time the gun went off. Take me through your perspective, because I haven't talked to someone in the race of like what actually happened.
Oh, so you mean when
The OG, when
the
we thought the
first
race was going off, yeah, the first time the gun went
the
off.
first time? Okay, so the first time when the gun went off, I actually was in lane 3. I think I was next to Caden Leonard, and I don't know who was in number 2. But I, tried to cut in, tried to make a move, try to take lane 1 because you're in lane 3. You have to try to gain a position. And then I got like a whole arm shoved me off the track. There's like a little picture I think online. I don't know how that picture got published, but yeah, I got pushed off the track. And I took like maybe 3 strides, and I was just like, usually that means like if you take 3 or more strides, you're like DQ'd or something. And that's where I was trying to think. But I tried to get back on the track, just in case they wouldn't DQ me because I did get shoved off. And I kind of thought they were going to shoot a second gun after the first 15 meters I got shoved off. But then I tried to get on, and the kid that fell, I kind of jumped in front of him. I feel like I was the one who kind of like, I'm going to admit, like I partially was involved in that, that fall, that tumble. Again, I have texted him. I said like I was like very, very sorry about it because I know like I don't usually like to be that person involved in that, and it's when it is my fault. I do admit when I did something wrong, and I rewatched that clip and I was like, yeah, partially it was me. But everyone was just pushing and shoving. I mean, we're trying to gain position, and it's a single waterfall, so it's just like you can lose a position so easily. And then I noticed that like after the first gun, we got called back. It was like there was like a 6 minutes or like 8 minutes we were waiting. And during that 2 minutes, I walked back and I was talking to the guys, and he was still on the track. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a run out because like we got to stay loose, because if we don't, we're not going to run well. And once I did it, and a bunch of other people started doing it, so it's just we were just waiting, taking our time. We were just I'm hoping for the best for that guy that took a tumble, and hope he's doing well. Yeah, it was just a hard time. And the second gun went off. I took 2 steps. The guy started shoving again. I was like, okay, I'm not getting in between that. So like that was why I was in lane 3 after I came around the corner, the second gun. So I was just trying to gain a position on the back stretch on the straightaway. So that's usually what I do sometimes if I have to.
What do you think is the solution moving forward if we have another field assembled like this? Because is it doing a waterfall start? Is it doing a lane start? Because I talked to a lot of the guys, and I think there was a lot of general frustration around just how many people are packed together. What I said is, okay, if the incident hadn't happened, you guys wouldn't care. And I think it's just a situation where every single guy there isn't used to having – you're used to being 5 meters ahead, 1 meter in,
Yeah.
And so I think guys just
to
don't know how to race with, that many people of that caliber on the same line. I mean, that's NCAA is like,
yeah,
everyone's that fast. They're just used to it. I don't think high schoolers are. So what's your perspective?
I was kind of thinking double waterfall. That's usually what a lot of people are saying. Like there should be a second waterfall, but like miles kind of like, isn't it like what, 9 extra meters? So it's like an odd number to try to figure that out. But I mean, I'm just thinking like it's a professional, like basically a professional meet. I hope we could figure it out later, but it is part of the race. I did know that. Like had my fair share of getting spiked, getting pushed in races. I've had my fair share of it, and I just that was actually my first time ever getting shoved off a track. But yeah, it is part of the race. It's going to suck no matter what, and you just gotta go through it. It's how it is.
You mentioned doing that run out between gun one and gun two, which ultimately was the race itself. What was going through your mind? Because you don't really know how long this kid is going to be on the track. You don't know kind of the situation of things. How are you trying to stay mentally composed? And was there any conversation with any of the other guys of like, okay, guys, like, we got this. Like, let's keep our foot to the fire when the race starts?
I mean, I did talk to some of the guys. It was just a little bit of just like, oh god, because like all of us were thinking like this is. I was thinking more of like this was going to make people more kind of gun shy of trying to take the pace or take the lead because all the adrenaline beforehand kind of just wore off for everybody. That's how I felt at least. And for me, it's a little bit of an advantage because like because once we went out in like 2:03, it's like I'm a kind of noticed like I am a kind of a sit and kicker, so I'm used to it. And I have been in a situation where the gun has been called back like 3 times I think in my state, so I'm kind of a little bit used to it by now. But it's still a scary moment, especially when someone gets injured like that. Like I walk up to him and his left or right shoulder was just all burned up. Like it looked really bad. So it was kind of a scary situation. Like I was more worried about him than I was worried about like the race at this point. And I was just really just waiting and relaxing, trying to keep myself composed of just, what happened. And some of the guys, I know they were just like wondering, what happened. And I was just talking to them, trying to keep them chill because that's the mood you want to be in, and you just want to keep your adrenaline up.
Obviously, it's hard to play that hypothetical or what if game, but naturally, I'll ask you, how different of a race do you think it would have been if it was clean from gun one? Because as you mentioned, the adrenaline wore off, and you could even sense in the stadium, like, people were just nervous and scared, when
Yeah.
gun two went off. And I think I truly think it changed the race. I don't think, and I'll boldly state this, I don't think we would have just seen two guys break four had gun one gone off clean.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think we all could have ran faster times actually. I mean, if we still had that adrenaline flowing, and yeah, I bet we could have seen probably a 3:56, something crazy. But it is what it is, and it happens. It's part of racing. It's part of the sport.
How were you able to be the guy that really was least affected by the incident? I mean, by the fact that you ran 3:58, it was your first time breaking four, and I think I've never seen someone more dissatisfied with a 3:59 in my life than Josiah. So I feel like you were the one guy who walked away happy with the race. How were you able to not let the adversity get to you?
I mean, I like I said, I kind of just talked to the guys. Kind of like to talk to people before my races a lot. I mean, again, in I'm just they call it like kind of like a Midwest friendliness, you would say, but like I just
Yeah.
like talking to people. It's just fun, and again, this is a sport, yes, but the distance community is usually one of the nicest communities you can be a part of. So I just have fun with it and try to get my mind off of it. I mean, yes, I'm still nervous for him, and I just stayed relaxed, stayed composed, um, did my runouts, did what I could do to stay loose. So yeah.
Obviously, there's a difference between 59s, which I think was the plan, and 61s. Did you feel the shift in the race that you were running that slow? That slow in, quotations.
Yeah.
And what was your thought through the first three laps?
So we went out the first lap, and we went out in like a 61 or like a 60 or something like that. I was the fastest guy, I think. It was Corbin who took it, and I was just, like I said, I took the first 2 steps at the beginning, stalled the shoving. I said, not going to deal with it. So I went into lane 3, trying to gain a spot. I was probably when I moved up 6, 7, around like 6th or 7th. So I tried to hold that spot, but then I kind of dropped back into like second last about. So second lap, I was second last. it was kind of like a scary situation, but I knew I had to creep up a bit. So going into lap 3, I started creeping up, and then I don't know what came upon me that final 275 to 300 of lap 4, but I just had a massive surge of like energy, and I felt amazing, and I just kept going, and I really just slammed it. With 250 to go, I had all my faith, pumped my arms, and I just got my eyes up. And once I got to the last 100 meters, I could see the tape. I was just tunnel vision on the tape, and I even saw Josiah that last 75 meters, and I was just like, oh shoot, because I thought I hit it too early, and I thought he had something more in him. And I come down, and the last 25 meters, he kind of just starts, I see him drop back, and I was just like, oh my gosh, wait, I actually won it. Like, I actually thought he was gonna find something deep inside him. And every runner, like, no matter what, like, we are the one guys that you will see us, like, just runners that like don't want to lose. So like they will go on to the point to where like they're gonna fall or collapse, and just they're gonna fight for it. And to see that kind of competitive go into the end of it, it was just a scary moment. I think that was the scariest time I've had to run, because I just had in the last 75 meters, and I'm not used to that, especially like that last 100. Usually I can get away from the person, but he had some fight in him. And I will admit he was just moving. He's a talented kid. I will say, like, all those guys are talented, but he scared me.
Yeah, Josiah's a dog. He's a dog for sure. I think something that's really cool is winning the race, right? Sub 4, you would have appreciated. I think you would have called it a successful day. But speaking of Jackson, I've talked to Jackson extensively about this. Like, he broke 4, but he placed 4th. So I think he was excited, but he felt a little bit bad. He was like, oh, I placed 4th. I want to win. Winning is everything in this sport. Obviously, again, you would have been happy with sub 4, but what did it mean to get the win? And how in the world do you close in 54? Where does that come from? It's Cole Hawker speed right there.
Like I said, I was more of a sit and kicker. Before I actually did the mile, like when I was at HOKA last year, it was for the 800. I do have 800 speed. I did know that going in. My freshman year, I ran 154.5, and that little sprinting energy, like I don't know, I've always had it in races. And before I did did run cross country. Before I did run track, I was actually like a football guy. My dad was a big football running back during his time, and I feel like that kick comes from that. I don't know, like it's something that I take pride in, and I love being able to kick at the end of races. And I know when any race happens, like if it's gonna take it out hot, I'm gonna try to make a move that last 200 meters. So I'm just happy to be able to win it, and to break Heidish's time was not even on my goal sheet. Like, yes, I wanted sub 4 more than anything. Like, that was the big goal, the big lifetime runner goal. And then I broke his time, and then I didn't even know I broke the junior record until Connor Burns texted me. So it was really funny. Yeah, it was just insane that I had that final 54 lap. And most races that I've raced in Iowa, I'm kind of just used to negative splitting at my state and Drake race. So I just have that final speed and that final kick that I just feel great.
What do we think is the possibility for the future? I mean, that 358 with the 54 close is obviously objectively way faster. The past few months, what you've been able to do, the speed, remarkable. Like, what do you think is possible? I think you might be the hope of U.S. prep distance running at this point. And it's funny because I texted someone I know who works at HOKA, and I said, I think he's a dark horse to win it, and he's only a junior. And then I said his progression is nuts. I genuinely think he could break Webb's record next year. And then I sent him your state meet results. I said, this might be the most impressive 2 days of running I've ever seen from a junior. So I want to say to the people out there who might be, you're glazing Quentin Nauman after you ran sub 4. No, I was glazing him before the sub 4. What do you think is possible for the future?
I mean, I really do want to go for Alan Webb's record. It's definitely a bold statement. The guys are been talking to me. Like I talked to Josiah and Tavon, sorry, about uh, just talking to them about running in general because I haven't talked to them, and I was just like, I saw them at the hotel. It was 12 in the morning, and went to go talk to them, and they're just like, dude, you should just go for Alan Webb's record. I was just like, you know, I might have to. Like, it's going to be a long reach. 353 is moving. Like that's college, Olympic. Like that's just moving, and it would be a really cool goal to put on the sheet. And only a junior. My progression from 410 to 358 is, 410 1600 to 358 mile is kind of a big difference and a big swing. And, let's hope I have that progression again. That would be really cool. So, yeah.
Someone clip this if it happens. Hot take here. I think we might be going after a new record in a few weeks because Owen Powell is in the international mile at pre. And the way he ran 146 as probably not an 800 guy, I think he might come away with, I don't know if 353, but I think he can come close to it. I think his range from 8 to 2 mile is out of this world. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Do you see that race, him and Cooper?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, crazy.
I was just like watching that race, and I was just like, oh wait, he's really staying on him. And then Cooper came with the last 50 meters. I was like, okay, yeah, there we go. That's the part of the race I was waiting for.
Coop as a sophomore running 146 low is, and didn't he like even split or negative split it?
Something like that? Probably wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah, because I know they came through in 53, and I just thought went to the Brooks guy next to me. I was like, oh, dang it. They're not going for the record. I was like, that's slow through 4. I don't know how to run an 8, but I feel like generally you don't go through 53 if you want to run 146. So yeah, crazy stuff. You have Nike left, I believe. What are your goals for the rest of the season, and then how do you plan to reset and do it all over again?
So at Nike, I'm running the 8 and the mile. So I'm going for that little double. I just try to win, try to ride in good times. The good times will come with the win usually. This would be actually my first time competing on Hayward. So for a future duck, this is really cool to experience that. So I'm ready. I like this. I've been wanting to run on Hayward, race on Hayward, probably since I saw the track. So I'm excited.
I think a lot of guys can get it done on the track. They don't get it done on the grass. I think you're someone who has the potential to do both, obviously without getting too far ahead of ourselves, knowing that you have some track races left. What do you want to do this fall and not be one of those situations where people only talk about you through the months of January through June and then you kind of peace out and don't do much?
Yeah. So I want to qualify for NXN. That would be really cool. Last year I didn't have a great race, but 15-14 wasn't like it. It's a very outstanding time. I got to be kind of humble about it. It's still a good time. Usually I haven't been much of a cross country guy, but I've noticed that I could really put on some range. I want to take down Heidish's cross country record on our cross country state course. That would be really cool. Here in 1456 on that course, and yeah, like I said, that course is hilly. It'd be really cool to break his record. Another guy that, again, looked up to him. I got one of his records. Call me greedy. I want his other one.
I love it, man. After the race, we captured a clip. You screamed down at the track, God did. What did that mean to you?
I just thought, God really did it. My mother has said, one of her friends that she's met that was very humble and everything like that. She was just saying, God gave your son a gift, and I'm happy he's humble about it. And I've heard my mom say that to me, and I was just like, when I crossed the line, I gotta praise him because he did give me this gift, and he did give me this opportunity. So when I crossed the line, I screamed, God did, and I stole it from actually a 2A runner from Iowa. He screamed it after cross country beat before he was about to cross the line. So I just stole it from him, and he noticed that right away. So it was really cool. Yeah, I liked that celebration. I took it from him, and God did really do it, and I was just happy.
I love it, man. And thanks for being such a witness and testimony, because I think a lot of people, watch something like that who are non-believers or believers but aren't really rooted in a tangible, deep way, and see that and they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, what does he mean? What is it? Oh, he's Christian. Like, it's an awesome affirmation of your faith. So thanks for that witness and that testimony. Final question for you. What's the final piece of advice for the listener? Anything? Final takeaway message.
Be consistent and really enjoy this sport. I mean, you only get 4 years in the high school scene. So you just really got to enjoy the time that you have, whether you be even varsity, JV, or, lower level or higher level, pro field. Just, you got to enjoy it. And you only get so much time in this sport or in the spotlight. So you got to really like it. And you gotta really love it. This is a sport that you can do. You could do it for the rest of your life, but you're not going to be doing it at the same speed that you always did, because age will always catch up. So just really enjoy it.
The Prince of Iowa, ladies and gentlemen. Quentin, thanks for chopping it up with me a week after your race. Congrats on the performance, the success. It's so cool to see you accomplish all that you set out to do. No one's more deserving, and excited for many more conversations. And hopefully a year from now, we're breaking down a new record. Alan Webb is no longer in the conversation, the picture. God said, pray a big prayer. So I'll pray for that one to happen. No hate against Alan, but this is a record I wanted to see fall for some time now. So appreciate the time, man.
Yeah. Thank you.